Welcome to the BDA Boxing Debate Arena. In this broadcast, we're going to be focusing on the upcoming middleweight unification fight between Gennady Triple G Golovkin, 36-0 with 33 knockouts, and Daniel Miracleman Jacobs, 32-1 with 29 knockouts. The bout will take place on March the 18th at Madison Square Garden and will be televised by HBO pay-per-view. This fight will pit Jacobs' speed, youth, and mobility against a rampaging monster known as Gennady Golovkin, who has scored 13 straight stoppages since debuting on HBO on September 2012. In this broadcast, we're going to be examining both men's attributes, some of their weaknesses, and what Jacobs will want to do if he wants to beat boxing's boogeyman. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Danny Jacobs' footwork here, which he's going to need if he wants to stay in the fight with Golovkin or if he wants to get out of it alive and with a win. Now, the thing I like about Daniel Jacobs is he's very fast, he's very athletic, he has good footwork and good lateral movement. He makes some mistakes every once in a while, as we're going to see, but he does a lot of good things too. The main thing is that he's fast, like I said. So here you see Daniel Jacobs. He starts out in a southpaw position. He usually does that. He switches positions. He's a switch hitter. I don't know if that's going to work out against Golovkin, but we will see. Now let's go back and see what he did here. So he's in the southpaw position. Then he'll switch back. So he changes levels there, giving Truex a new look. This is the Caleb Truex fight, by the way. Caleb Truex, a good fighter, good state fighter, I would say. Not really. He's a borderline contender, and but he's good. I mean, he dropped Jermaine Taylor in one fight. But see, here's what I don't like about Daniel Jacobs. He does this often. He leans back, and when you're leaning back, you have nowhere to go. So he leans back and he pivots. Now he's on the ropes here, but Truex isn't Golovkin. And there you see Jacobs is able to land a right hand there. So let's go. And then he pivots again. Normal little pivot here. Sort of leans back again. I don't like to see that, but he does it well. He does it fast. So that's a plus right there. And then there's a different type of pivot here, as you can see. The first pivot was a more conventional one. He just pivots off the left foot. But here what he does is he'll back up, he'll put that left foot back, and then he'll walk backwards while pivoting at the same time. So that gives him more space, more distance, and he's able to pivot away, keep the guy turning. So you see Caleb Truex here is out of position. He has to reset and sort of cut the ring off again. So here's Daniel Jacobs, and then Daniel Jacobs throws a 1-2, overshoots the runway and smothers his own work, but at least he tried to fight back, which is what he's going to have to do. There, let's take a look at that again. Jacobs, again, sort of he didn't lean back there, but he ducks and rolls with the right hand at the same time, and then he goes back up, and he tries to get out of the way, and look at his feet again. He rolls, sort of pivots, but at the same time, he's already spreading his legs so that they're not too close together, and he's not off balance. He puts that left foot back, and then he just gets back into position. And look at how much distance there is between the two fighters now. So these are some of the things he's going to have to do against Golovkin. He's going to have to get out of the way real fast. What else does he do here? Again, rolls with the right, sort of ducks and rolls with the right hand, and then puts his left arm behind Caleb Truex, who's sort of overshooting the runway here. I mean, Truex turned the punch over very well. You can see where his right hand is right now, because he's really trying to do some damage with the right hand. But Jacobs rolled with it, ducked. He takes his left hand and pushes Truex. Well, not pushes him, but sort of controls him, gets out of the way, pivots out of the way, and then he's back in. Well, at least he's not on the ropes anymore. Again, there you saw him, Daniel Jacobs You saw him sort of lean back a little bit, which is not what we want to see him do. What did he do? He did it here. See? First of all, he's walking, but he allowed Truex already to cut the distance. So look at Jacobs' feet. I mean, if he gets touched with a jab, he's going down. But then, Truex doesn't capitalize, and then by the time he does throw the jab, Jacobs' feet are already back in position. But he's leaning back here, see? Leaning back. He's got nowhere to go. The only thing he can do here is if Truex throws a right, he's going to have to roll with it. But then he's stuck in position for an incoming left hook to the body or to the head, which we know Golovkin is going to try to do. So again, and then this position here, he goes to the ropes, which we don't want to see him do against Golovkin, but he's able to spring out of the way as Truax overcommits. He moves, sort of does a little pivot there, not a pivot, but he leans to the left to gain momentum and then springs back while changing the position of his feet, and he gets out of the way, gets out of the ropes. Easy to do against Caleb Truax, not as easy to do against Gennady Golovkin. We know that, but at least Jacobs knows what to do. Now here, he's showing us his reflexes. Jacobs is. So Truax comes in, feints with the right, throws a left hook. Jacobs leans back, and then he knows the right hand is coming, so he rolls and rolls again to block the left hook while his right hand is pinned to his cheek so he can avoid getting damaged. Now, of course, he doesn't want to do this against Golovkin because, well, this is where Golovkin thrives. He wants you on the ropes to just bang your body, bang your head, bang your shoulders, everything. And that's how guys get worn down. But at least Jacobs, there he tries to go in the right uppercut. At least he's fast. Boom. See? The guy, he's leaning back, which you're not really supposed to do in boxing, but it displays at least that he has very good reflexes, which, if he can tighten up his defensive game, will allow him to maybe outbox Golovkin, or at least survive the fight, because you need great reflexes against Golovkin. Now you saw how Truax was sort of letting Jacobs do whatever he wanted. The problem with that is Golovkin's not going to let him do whatever. He's not going to let Jacobs do whatever he wants. Golovkin, he's going to put pressure since from the first round. Look, see, this is against Rosado. First round. He's already putting tremendous pressure. Throws her overhand right. Again, another overhand right. This guy can then jab. He's going to jab to the body here in just a moment. Jab to the body. I mean, he does not let you rest. And then he does something here which I really like. So as you can see, he jabbed upstairs, right? He's putting pressure coming off the ring. He jabs downstairs. I can guarantee you those punches, I mean, maybe not hurt in the sense of, I want to go down. But, I mean, they catch a guy's attention. And now Rosado here, he's going, okay, is he going to jab to the body? Is he going to jab upstairs? See here, Golovkin, how he plays and controls Rosado with his left hand. See, it looks like he's going to try throw a left hook. Rosado flinches. Then Golovkin brings back his fist up as if he's going to jab upstairs, lowers it. Now in this position, he can sort of say, okay, am I going to jab back again downstairs, or am I going to throw a left hook? Rosado doesn't know. Then he sort of, again, a little here, a little feint. Rosado again flinches. Rosado, you can look at his face. He's very focused, but I mean, he doesn't know where the punch is. Right now, he's thinking, okay, where are the punches going to come from? And that's the thing that Golovkin makes you think all the time, and then he's hitting you with hard shots, so he takes you out of your game, out of your element. So it's crucial and imperative that Jacobs remains well-schooled, fast, and doesn't do a lot of the mistakes that we saw him before. But like I said, the good thing about Jacobs is he's springy, he's fast, and that lateral movement, it could give Golovkin hell, as we're going to see later on. So here is something that I've noticed about Jacobs is when he jabs, he sort of, let's look at that again. So when he jabs, he goes down, he leans forward. He leans forward here, then the incoming right hand. See here, this isn't the part that I was talking about. This is another sequence. But see, here he jabs, he leans to the left. He's leaning to the left before he jabs, and then he jabs, but he's still leaning to the left. Truax was gonna throw the right hand, didn't. But look at Jacobs. What was he going to do? He was ready to lean away from the right hand, but he still might have been caught with it. He wasn't going to roll with it. He put his right hand on his cheek so to block it, but he's still out of position. But look at how much spring he has here. See, Jacobs is very fast. There he throws a 1-2. This is what I wanted to show you. See how Jacobs jabs, and he sees the right hand coming, so he leans down. Sort of eats a little left hand there. But Corte used to do that too. He would throw the jab and then lean down to avoid the right hand. Kell Brook also did it, as you're going to see. But see this. He does it again. Ooh, but see, that's what he has to watch out for. If you're going to throw the jab, be either far away so you can back off, or dip down so you will take some of the steam off the right hand, but you can't just stay there because you're going to get hit with right hands. And that's what Golovkin, look at this. Rosado, lazy jab. His hand is down. Golovkin just studying, puts his gloves up, takes the jab, and immediately throws a right hand. And that's a hard right hand. That, compare that to Truax's right hand. This is a right hand that can do some damage. And now Rosado's panicking there. Ooh, another right hand. But see, this is what I want to say. Kell Brook, remember the Kell Brook fight against Gennady Golovkin? He didn't really take a lot of counter right hands from Golovkin because he does the same thing that Daniel Jacobs does, which is, see, he throws a jab and he leans back down. Boom. So the right hand whizzes by and he's able to get out of the way, pivot out of the way, take the center of the ring again. So this is what Jacobs is going to have to do. Jab, get out of the way. But now what he's not going to want to do is this. Jab, stay down, and then just stay there and allow himself to be massacred to the body, which is what Golovkin is going to try to do. And we know that Golovkin controls the distance very well. And you saw Truax did a nice thing here, which is Jacobs threw the jab, leaned down, and then Truax just took a little step back and then countered to the body. Not a lot of pop in there. He's not really putting his weight behind the shots. And we know Golovkin is. So Jacobs is going to have to be very careful with that. Okay, so now here we're going to see Daniel Jacobs backing off and trying to counter. Now this is something he's going to have to do. He's going to have to move consistently, punch, get out of the way, or sometimes move, make it seem as he's still on the defensive, but then spring forward and then get out of the way again. Now here the problem is he throws a 1-2, but look how he overcommits. Truax was on the defensive, pivoting away, getting out of the way, but Golovkin, he's not going to do that. He's going to stay right in there because Golovkin has a lot of confidence in his power. So he stalks, and he doesn't care if the other guy throws a 1-2. He's confident in his chin and in his power that if they get into an exchange, he's going to come out on top. So you see here Rosado throws a right hand, and Golovkin just throws a left hook that sort of, no, it caught him. And those are the type of shots that can put a guy in trouble. And but here's the thing though, Golovkin can be caught. See how he overcommits here? He's coming in. Rosado changes levels. So Golovkin, he forces Golovkin to lower his left hand, and then Rosado throws a nice right hand. He still gets caught there with a jab, but still, I mean, if Golovkin, if you're moving back, which is what he wants, sometimes he'll get a little overzealous and he'll overshoot himself. He'll overshoot the runway, as they say in boxing. Here's against Kell Brook. Nice right hand from Golovkin, but then see, again overcommits with the left hook. Brook leans back, rolls with the left hand. You know, it's a big no-no leaning back, but you know, if you're athletic enough, like a guy like a Kell Brook or a Daniel Jacobs, you can still do it. So he leans back, controls Golovkin's head, and then nails him with a beautiful right hand. Crowd goes nuts, and then he follows it up with another barrage. Here's another example of Kell Brook doing the leaning back, or as Bernard Hopkins called it in this broadcast, the switch and bait. Because see here, he leans away from the left hook. Now notice how Golovkin is leaping into the air here, because at this point in the fight, Brook had frustrated him and with his big shots, and Golovkin knew that he wasn't going to be able to just take his time like he did with most guys. He was getting hit, he didn't like it, so he had to put on extra pressure on Kell Brook. And you see here, he's trying to get at Brook, but he overcommits. Look at him, he's wide open. Brook again, left hand to control, and then a right hand lands. Another bait and switch here. Leans back. See, Golovkin, he's in the right position. He could land the overhand right from that position. But Brook, very athletic, very explosive, leans back. Now Golovkin is stumbling forward because he's a little off balance and catches a left hand, and yet he still throws his own left hook. Because this guy, he can take, as you saw that famous video against Daniel Gill, where he took a right hand he took a right hand or left hook. He took a shot and then he came back with his own right hand at the same time, or right afterwards, because he gets hit and he doesn't care. He'll come back with something right away. Thing about Gennady Golovkin though is that he can be caught, as we saw before, with right hands and without the old bait and switch. And here's Daniel Jacobs landing an overhand right here against Caleb Truax. I think Daniel Jacobs' best weapon might be the overhand right, but and it's a good weapon to have against Gennady Golovkin, because here you can see gets caught with an overhand right, and then here another right hand right over the jab, and then here he sort of overcommits and gets hit with a nice straight right while he's coming in. And one of the most dangerous punches, see here, when you don't see it coming, and Golovkin just throws a straight right, doesn't change the position of his head, it's always on the same axis, and gets hit with a right hand. If Martin Murray would have been a bigger puncher, he could have done some damage with it, but he's not a real puncher, so he wasn't able to do anything. See, that's an overhand right there by Martin Murray. Nice overhand right, but still Golovkin has a chin. And here's Rosado landing his own overhand right. But what I'm saying is, there's a punch that Jacobs is going to have to look for. He's going to have to move back, set some traps, and when Golovkin punches, throw that overhand right. Peter Quillen can tell you how hard Danny Jacobs hits with that overhand right. So Jacobs, it's imperative that he puts some mustard into those shots. Do not get discouraged. Keep hitting Golovkin, and eventually you might wear him down. Now we saw the overhand right, how that works against Golovkin. Another punch or a combination that usually works against Golovkin, it seems to be the left hook, right hand. The left hook sort of freezes Golovkin, and he sort of just puts his hands up, sticks his chin down, tucks it in, and he just waits for the incoming fire so that he can throw his own shots in between the other guy's punches. Sometimes though, again, that freezes him and he leaves him open for either uppercuts or straight right hands. I'm going to show you what I mean here. See here, Murray throws a left hook. Golovkin sort of puts his jab out because he's trying to jab. Now the good thing about Golovkin here is he raises his left shoulder and then sort of leaned away from the right hand, but he still took some impact from it. I'm going to show you another example of the left hook right hand. Again, see? Left hook, and Golovkin, see how he goes down? He puts his head down a little bit. He's tucking his chin in, which allows him to take the shots, but sort of he gets frozen in place. He's stuck in place, and then there's an overhand right behind the gloves. Boom. And Golovkin takes it because, again, he's got a good chin, and Martin Murray isn't really a huge puncher. Again, here's another demonstration. Left hook, right hand, left hook. And see how Golovkin is just staying there? Now, a lot of people say, well, you know, Golovkin, he wants the guys to hit him because he doesn't care. But against Daniel Jacobs, I don't know. I guess the big puncher, you didn't see him doing this against David Lemieux or Curtis Stevens because he knows he could get hurt. He'll do this against guys that can't really punch. The question is going to be whether Daniel Jacobs can get some respect from Golovkin. Now, here's again. See that? Left hook, right hand, and then a follow barrage. Now you see here, Golovkin ducks again. He's keeping his chin tucked in, gloves up, turtle shell defense a little bit. But Brooks sets him up for that big right uppercut, which lifted him off the canvas. You know, oh yeah, Golovkin lets his opponents punch him. I don't think he intended for that punch to land. Look at that, boom, lifts him off the air, and Brook follow up barrage right there. Again, that right hook, left hook, and Brook did this throughout the fight too. I'm just showing you one example here, but he landed that combination a couple of times, and then which allowed him to set up that right uppercut, and then a follow barrage. And you can see Golovkin sort of stumbling there because he felt those shots. I mean, they're pushing him backwards. Here's Rosado again himself. He landed a couple of good punches on Golovkin. This is in the fifth round. He landed a couple of jabs, a couple of straight rights. So Golovkin, very confident, steps in with a power shotgun jab, and Rosado says, "Okay, you're always leaning down. I've seen that." Boom, catches him with a right uppercut. Here's again another right uppercut. And then a barrage that sets up everything. Beautiful combination by Rosado. Not a big puncher again, but see, Golovkin tucking himself in, making himself compact on the inside so he can take the shots. But his head is always in the same place there. I didn't really catch him with the right... well, that one, this one caught him. Second one missed. Feints, throws a hook, throws an uppercut, catches him. Now Golovkin moves his head. Another uppercut missed, but sets him up for the right hand right there. So Golovkin can be gotten to. Let's take a look at a little bit of Daniel Jacobs' offense. Here you see him. He hurt Truax at the end of the round here. So he throws an overhand right. Just a bunch of overhand rights. I don't like him. I don't like seeing that. That's a little bit of a caveman style there. Didn't really mix it up. It gets better though afterwards. It gets better. Late in the fight he mixed up his punches more. But you can see here that overhand right. Like I said, if he hits Golovkin with a good one like that one, he could hurt. But he can't go after. Obviously, he can't go after Golovkin like that. Just overhand right. He has to mix in his punches. Here's Jacobs showing us that putting pressure is not really his forte. But, okay, here's the thing. He's got fast hands. I don't like him throwing that uppercut with that left hand down. That's a recipe to take an overhand right from Golovkin and just lying on the canvas and having a repeat of the Dmitry Pirog fight. He has to keep his hands up. But here against Caleb Truax, he doesn't have to worry too much about Truax's power. He can sort of do what he wants. Let's take a look at Jacobs' hand speed again. Very quick hands. Good combination here. So he throws, he avoids the jab. He dips down, throws an uppercut, throws a jab. The overhand right set up by those pity pads. Then a good jab, another overhand right. But see, here he's overshooting the runway, smothering his own work, and actually takes a low blow right there for his troubles. But then catches Truax with a left hook. So he's got fast hands. Again here. Here's a good sequence. Shows you that Daniel Jacobs is always thinking, even on the offense. He knows how to do certain things. So here he throws an overhand right, ducks, changes the angle, and throws a left hook, and then an overhand right, and then another left hook. Again, not the most compact of punches, but it shows he's got moxie on the inside. And this is the combination that started the end for Caleb Truax. Again, right uppercut, left hand down. I don't like that, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Jab, overhand right, and that one did not forgive. And this is after Truax had taken a lot of jabs, a lot of right hands. He'd been worn down at that point. And Jacobs goes in for the finish. Now this is another offensive portion of the fight from Jacobs, and this is what he doesn't want to do. See, I mean, he's throwing nice fast punches, switching at the same time, so Truax doesn't know where the punches are coming from, but he gets a little too close, and he's not really landing all that much. He landed 2 punches at the end there. But you can see here Rosado trying to go after Golovkin early in the fight, trying to get some respect, but you can see Golovkin, he'll counter you. He blocks the right hand, and then he launches an overhand right, catches Rosado. Rosado stays in there because he's a tough guy. Throws a right hand, and then Golovkin counters with a left hook. Rosado sort of in the southpaw position, but then he says, you know what, I think I better get out of the way. Might not be such a good idea to trade with Golovkin there. Alright, so here we see Daniel Jacobs trying to finish the fight. And here he is doing his best Deontay Wilder imitation. He gets better though. I mean, not the imitation, but his finishing attempt here. Or his finish, I should say. So here's what I like. After all that Deontay Wilder swinging wild stuff, he actually gets a little more composed. So he jabs Quillen, keeps that left hand out there, blinding Quillen and keeping him in place, and then throws a nice right hand to the body, followed by another one upstairs, hoping that Quillen's hands were down, but they were not. But then he throws the overhand right, which pushes Quillen downwards, right into a left uppercut. Then follows it up with a right uppercut attempt, another left hook, doubles on it, doubles up on the left hook, right hand, left uppercut, and then he goes back to that caveman right hand, but I mean, still, it was a beautiful sequence. And now he's swinging for the fences. It looks like a tough man contest here, but still, Quillen should be holding on, and he's not, so Jacob's saying, all right. And then he takes that overhand right. So, a little crude. Well, I mean, it's crude, but you saw one sequence there where if he does that against Golovkin, I mean, should he hurt Golovkin, and he does what he did previously, which, the good part, which I pointed out, he's gonna get some points in there. But I mean, if he's just swinging wildly like this, yeah, he might catch Golovkin or he might not. He might get caught himself. He has to stay composed. But we can see, I mean, look at that overhand right. That's a powerful overhand right. And if Jacobs plays his cards right and stays composed and throws good combinations, he could get Golovkin's respect, as we saw Kell Brook did too, by the way. And Jacobs, he's a true middleweight. So you figure that out yourselves, you know. I mean, Jacobs has the potential here to get himself some respect from Gennady Golovkin. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you know, you can't, you have to box Gennady Golovkin. You have to box. But look at what happens when you box him. Even if you're moving, he's going to catch you. He's going to catch you. Sounds nuts, but you know what? Maybe what Daniel Jacobs has to do here is fight back a little. Stay on the inside more often than backing up, because what Golovkin wants is precisely what's going on here. He wants to test the waters. He's relaxed, and then he'll land one shot, or maybe 2, 3, whatever. Eventually, he catches you. See, here's Rosado moving, and even then, you're moving, he's still gonna catch you. He cuts the ring off, makes you move, throws shots to the body, head, upstairs, just busts you up, or he'll use that jab, that dynamite jab of his, to take you out of position. So, and then he can punch from various different directions. Right uppercut, lead right hands, and then if you stay in there, he catches you. This is what happens when you stay in there with a guy. It gets ugly. That's what he wants. He wants guys on the ropes, right? He wants guys on the ropes. Now, I think what Jacobs is going to have to do here, get himself a little bit of some respect. He's going to have to go to the body, Jacobs, like here, in this little sequence here. See? Almost takes a right hand, but he follows it up with a right hook, left hook. Well, the left hook missed, but see, he was in a position to throw body punches. He didn't really throw a lot of body punches in the Caleb Truex fight. Even the commentators said so themselves. They noticed that. So he's going to have to go to the body. Now, people are saying, well, if you go to the body against Golovkin, you're opening yourself up to his power punches, and it's true. But like I said, he's gonna get caught anyway if he's moving, which is what Golovkin wants. He gains momentum going forward. And when he goes forward and you go backwards, you're on the ropes, and that's where he wants you. I'm not saying fight him on the inside a la Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, but I'm saying you gotta stay in there and throw some body shots, because he's gonna catch you anyway. So you might as well take a risk and take those shots to get yours in there too, and sort of wear him down in case the fight goes the distance, or in case Jacobs, he's lucky enough to make it to the distance. Now I'm going to show you a couple of examples of guys going to the body against Gennady Golovkin. So here's Monroe. I know he's a southpaw, but still landing some good shots. You saw that left uppercut there. And then he's going to do some beautiful work here, bobbing and weaving, getting out of the way from Golovkin's shots. I mean, Golovkin is good on the inside too, obviously, because he's such a powerful puncher. But see how beautiful sequence there. Beautiful sequence there from Monroe. So he catches the right hand, goes under, weaves, pivots, gets back out, and then he throws his own body shots there. And I don't care how good a chin Golovkin has, those body shots can wear anybody down. Now he's taking these shots from Monroe, which are different shots than Jacobs, obviously, because Monroe is not a big puncher. And even Golovkin said afterwards that, oh, I didn't feel Monroe's shots, but anybody will feel a shot. Especially, look at this shot. So like on the hip there, it was on the metal line, so it's legal. But look at how Golovkin has to sort of stumble backwards a little bit, try to walk that punch off, because I mean those punches will stay with you if the fight goes late, and that's a big if, obviously, against Gennady Golovkin. But you never know, and Jacobs has to go to the body. So take a couple of more examples here. There he flurries. That doesn't really do anything, but I mean it sets him up for bigger shots, like those down the line. Oh, that's the problem though. You're staying in there in front of Golovkin. He's gonna throw shots from all sorts of angles, all directions. Very good variety of shots. But still, like I said, you gotta take a risk. Again, look at this sequence here. Golovkin overcommits. Actually, sort of like trips. Look at his right foot. Sort of trip. But anyway, he's too far away, and then Monroe goes under and catches him with a left hand, followed by a left hook. And then bobs and weaves again. Gets out of danger there. Takes a right hook that Golovkin didn't really affect him, but then it sets him up for that. Again, look how Golovkin keeps his head down on the same level, on the same axis, and takes those shots. Now again, he says, oh, I didn't feel the shots. You get hit enough to the body, you're going to start feeling something. Beautiful left from Monroe. He got warned there by the referee. But hey, listen. Whether he warns you or not, you already landed the punch, so keep going downstairs if you have to. There's Murray going to the body. Look at that. Murray did, the thing about Murray is he doesn't really commit to his punch. He doesn't really turn them forward. So he doesn't have a lot of power. But here, this right hand, he did turn it over. And it gained momentum for this beautiful left hook. Golovkin does a good job of blocking shots to the body. But not all the time. There's caught it there. Double left hook by Murray. Another double left hook by Murray. See, again, not turning those hooks over a la Julio Cesar Chavez or Canelo, but I mean, he's trying though. He's trying to go to the body. Now, this is of course because Martin Murray is a different fighter than Monroe. He doesn't have the same legs or the same lateral movement that Monroe has. He's not as slick, so he has to stay in there. He had to stay in there and try to get some respect. But we're gonna see some good body shots here. These were some good body shots. Now again, they don't look like the hardest punches, but they landed clean. Look at this. So Golovkin jabs, keeps his left hand there, trying to push Murray forward, trying to control him. So Murray changes levels because he knows at this point Golovkin is always coming forward. So he's like, I'm gonna change levels, get a little lower than him, get under his guard. So he throws a left hook, right uppercut, sort of landed there. And you can see Golovkin sort of doubled over a little bit. Oof. Left hook, and then a right hand, and it backed Golovkin up. So you can back him up as we saw Brook did. But, Murray's not, I don't think he's as sharp, compact a puncher as Brook, but he still was able to back Golovkin up with those body shots. And that's what Jacob's going to have to do. So here he's taking some shots, Murray's, but look at that. Now this, keep in mind, this was early. This is the fourth round, so this is relatively early in the fight. At this point, Martin Murray still had a lot of energy left, a lot of juice, and a lot of panache. I mean, he wanted to stay in there and try it, test the waters. But then Golovkin started beating him up, and then as the fight wore on, Murray lost some of his juice, a lot of mustard in his punches. But see here, flurries and catches him clean. Now the ref says, "Oh, keep him up," but hey, they landed already, so that's a plus for Murray there. Again, beautiful left hook there. Golovkin, I don't think, could fully block it there. I mean, that almost could have gotten the liver there, or it did get the liver. I don't know, hard to see. But you see Golovkin backed up. Now Golovkin, the thing is, I'm showing you all the parts where he takes a body shot. You see here, takes a body shot, but then he comes back forward and starts putting pressure again because the guy's a monster. But you could see for a moment he was backed up. Here again, backed up a little bit. Let's look at that in real time. But he comes back with a jab, but still. So he misses. He misses with the uppercut. Lands an overhand right. Now he covers up because he knows Murray is going to come back with something. So he's blocking the body. Boom. Takes a right uppercut. That's a nice punch there from Murray. Then here again, Murray doubling up with the left hook to the body. And here is some nice uppercuts underneath. And you saw that. What happened here? Look at that. He takes the shots, which only a guy like Murray can really. I mean, Murray is one of the toughest guys around. So he takes a shot. He stays in there. Throws a left uppercut, right uppercut to the body. Golovkin says, "Ooh, I didn't like that. I'm going to come back," as he always does with left hook. But then at the same time, Murray catches the left hook, comes back with a short right hand, followed by a left hook. And, Golovkin backed off. He didn't like that. So you have to try your hand and go to the body. Again, here more body shots from Murray. Beautiful combination. Golovkin took it, but still, it makes him think. Now this is a little shoe shine flurry upstairs, which sets up a nice left hook downstairs. And you can see sort of Golovkin take a little deep breath. See that? Okay, he's getting ready. Because the thing is, when you're taking shots like that, you have to let the air out of your abdomen. You don't squeeze the abs. You have to let the air out, sort of as if you're punching. Make the same sound. Take the shots, and then you have to sneak in some air afterwards. And that's it. That little deep breath from Golovkin there, sort of reset himself. Then Murray comes back with some body shots. So Jacobs has to try and land those body punches. Again, I know it's easy to say. I know it's even harder to do when you're in there against a puncher like Golovkin. But hey, if you keep moving all the time, that's what Golovkin wants. So you have to take some risks and do something different. And I think Jacobs has the power, he has the speed and the youth to be able to pull that off himself. He has to do a little bit of a mix, right? He has to mix in some boxing, stay on the inside, step out, slick, a lot of pivoting, a lot of lateral movement. Has to, in other words, fight the perfect fight. Because anything less than perfect isn't going to get you a win over Gennady Golovkin. But you know what? Like I said, Jacobs has speed, he has power, he has youth. As long as he can correct some of the little mistakes he makes, he has a good chance of winning the fight. Now Golovkin, what else can he do? I mean, he's a force of nature. He puts pressure, he backs you up into the ropes. Again, like I said, whether you move or whether you stay in there, he's gonna catch you with something. And he has power that's, I mean, it's on... this guy, his power is, even professionals feel his power and they go, my goodness, what is this? So he's the boogeyman. He is boxing's boogeyman right now. And it's up to Jacobs to prove everybody wrong. You know, he's taking a big risk, but there's a big reward too. And if he can take Golovkin out of there, he stands to be one of the biggest names in boxing right now, and at least one of the most respected. So that was the fight analysis, fight study from BDA. Thank you for joining us. Please leave some comments and tell us where I was wrong, where I was right. You know, tell me it was the best broadcast ever, and we'll see you on the next one.